Hello, and welcome to the Homeschool Sanity Show, your prescription for happier, healthier homeschooling. I'm your host, Dr. Melanie Wilson, Christian psychologist turned homeschooling mother of 6. Let's get started. Hey homeschoolers! Last time I shared how you can find curriculum for Homeschool Sanity. This week I have an amazing resource for you. I interview Heather Bowen of homeschoolcurriculumfair.com. Before I share the interview, I want to let you know that the audiobook version of Protostar, Grammar Galaxy Volume 2 is now available. Response to the audio version of the first volume has been strong. Tom McLean, the narrator, does an incredible job of bringing the book to life and adding humor with his voices. The audiobook is 20% off through September 10th. Add the audiobook to your purchase of the Protostar text and receive an additional $5 off. Here is a sample of Chapter 1.
Luke climbed into bed and imagined himself having to do his report. It helped him to feel sick. Then he used his communicator to contact his mother.
"Mother,"
he said weakly.
"I'm not well."
"Oh no," she cried. "What's wrong?"
"I don't know. I feel sick."
"What can I bring you? Do you have a fever? Should I call the doctor?"
No fever. I don't need anything. I'll be fine. Well, maybe some soup would be good. And crackers. I could try some pudding, too. Chocolate milk would taste good."
"Okay, dear. I'll ask cook to make up a tray and I'll bring it to you."
"I don't want you to get sick, too. Just have someone leave it by the door."
This worried the Queen even more, but she was proud of Luke for thinking of her.
"Oh, and Mother,"
Luke said. "Yes, sweet Luke."
"I'm so disappointed, but I don't think I'll be able to do the book report tomorrow."
"Oh, goodness, Luke, don't worry about that. You'll probably be fine by tomorrow anyway."
Now for my interview with Heather Bowen. I've known Heather for several years, and I'm grateful for the resource she has created for homeschooling publishers and families. Heather, thank you so much for joining me here on the Homeschool Sanity Show. I wanted to start by having you tell us more about you and your family, and also tell us why you decided to homeschool initially.
Sure. So my husband and I have 2 daughters. They are 11 months apart. Shaylee is 15, about to be 16, and Nevaeh is 14, about to be 15. So we started homeschooling when they were going to kindergarten. So the way that their birthdays fall, September, October birthdays, they were to start school initially together anyway in the same grade. So we just went ahead and decided to keep them together. But homeschooling was never on my radar. Like, I wanted nothing to do with homeschooling. I actually fought God every step of the way on this. And then it was just totally made obvious to us that this was the path that we were called to. So I begrudgingly agreed to do this, and still worked full-time outside the home as labor and delivery nurse while homeschooling for the first few years. My husband worked full-time too. He worked nights, I worked days, so we just sort of flip-flopped our schedules and made it work somehow. So I will say that I went into it not wanting to do it, but will definitely say that it has provided us with some of the best memories and the best times of our lives as a family. So we just finished our 10th year of homeschooling. So yeah, it's been a good journey.
Well, that is wonderful to hear. I'm sure that you can relate to many families who are going to try to work and homeschool at the same time. And I'm sure you have a lot of advice for them, but I can really identify with not wanting to homeschool initially and then finding that it has been the biggest blessing in my life. So we do share that in common. Well, today what we're going to talk about, though, is the fact that you started a Facebook group that you call the top picks homeschool curriculum or something like that. It's basically the top homeschool curriculum for homeschoolers. And I found out about this. I'm wondering, did you start it in March or in April that you started talking about it?
We started talking about it at the end of April, and
Okay,
it's the Top Picks Homeschool Curriculum Fair.
fair.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and so it started in April.
All right. And why did you decide to start this group? Because I know you've had many, many different resources available for homeschoolers and homeschool bloggers too, but this was something completely different. What prompted you to start it?
So I actually started it as it was going to be a Band-Aid event. So many of my homeschool publisher and homeschool vendor friends were so hurt by COVID and the fact that so many conferences were canceled and in-person curriculum fairs were canceled. And it was they were convinced, that it was just many companies would go under because of this. And at the same time, many homeschool families were feeling the pinch because they weren't sure how they were going to be able to find and purchase their curriculum for the coming year that they always, found and purchased at homeschool conferences. So I decided that I would just start this Facebook group and we would have, maybe a dozen vendors and a couple hundred attendees. And we would set up little vendor booths in Facebook albums in the group. And, we could introduce them to the curriculum and they could make purchases. And that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like a 2-week event and once and done. And yeah.
Okay. And I was a part of that, obviously, with my curriculum, Grammar Galaxy books, and the Organized Homeschool Life, and those materials that I make available. And, that was my understanding of what it was going to be. I had really low expectations for the group. I participated in a lot of different things online in the past, and, some have been good, some not so good. But tell us how it worked out. What was the result of you starting this group?
So I actually just started pitching it to a few vendors to see if they wanted to join us. And like I said, my original intent was a dozen or so vendors, a couple hundred attendees, 2-week event, and that'd be it. Well, by the time that I had finished pitching vendors, we ended up with 100 vendors. It was going to have to be a much longer event than 2 weeks or everybody was going to get overwhelmed and burned out. So it stretched out to an 8-week event. And before the first day that we opened the doors for the group, we had 1,000 people waiting to join. And so at the end of the 8 weeks, we had over 10,000 people in the group. It was so successful. So many vendors had come to me and were like, we've made thousands of dollars during this. Like, this can't end. So many of the attendees were telling me, we don't want this group to end. It's a group where we have weekly giveaways. We have live workshops from our vendors. It's really bridging the gap that COVID has left behind. So we knew that it couldn't just end there at the end of 8 weeks.
Right. So you decided to make some changes to the format of it and some improvements. And can you tell us about what you did with the
Right.
group?
So the biggest thing when we were deciding that, this was going to be an ongoing event, it was going to be year round. It wasn't just going to be for a certain amount of time. The biggest issue that I personally had with the group, and I felt like other people were having with the group, was that the Facebook albums for vendor booths were very hard to find and navigate. So I knew that we wanted to take those vendor booths off of Facebook. So we created a brand new website for the vendor booths, and that site is homeschoolcurriculumfair.com. And there we have over 100 vendors who have their own vendor booths there. But the really cool thing about that site is you can search by grade level, you can search by subject, you can search by worldview, and you can search by homeschooling method. So it makes for a really user-friendly shopping experience. But we still keep the group. The group is now up to 15,000 and some members. And we still do the same things that attendees and vendors have grown to love in the group. So we have those weekly giveaways. We have weekly freebies. We have live workshops every single day. We do a lot of fun things like Facebook parties and contests and scavenger hunts and just things that people really loved about the group in the beginning, we're going to continue on year round.
Well, that is fantastic. And I know that the group has been a huge blessing to me personally. I have really seen so many people learn about Grammar Galaxy, for example, who had never heard of it before. And people who have used it were able to tell new homeschoolers or people who hadn't heard of it their experience using my curriculum. And so I have just been thrilled to be a vendor in the group. But I am curious about you, Heather. What have been some of the biggest blessings for you in starting and maintaining this group?
So for me personally, I love to see the results of it. Like, I've had so many people, vendors specifically, come to me and tell me that, what we've done is we've really leveled out that playing field where we've given the smaller and newer homeschool publishers and vendors, they're matched up there with your big name ones. So they're getting that same exposure that they couldn't afford to have a vendor booth in an in-person curriculum fair or an in-person conference. And, they were just sort of pushed to the side. So we've really leveled out that playing field. And that's probably been the biggest blessing for me to see, is that, yes, our big name publishers, they're still doing great, and they're finding new people, and new people are discovering them. But at the same time, our smaller publishers and our newer publishers are, I had one vendor who came to me and said, I received my first sale ever through the homeschool curriculum fair. And that's just so rewarding. This was totally a God thing. I feel like this was never me. He gave me this idea. He saw the need, and I was just, I just obeyed and went forward with it. And so that's really, really been the thing for me to see, is it just filling that need that was presented.
Oh, and it's definitely been such a blessing to so many people. But there are advantages of participating in your group, not just for vendors, but for homeschoolers too. Can you tell us why a homeschooler should come and be a part of this group and visit your website?
For sure. So I feel like for homeschooling parents, veteran homeschooling parents and new homeschoolers alike, that if you come to this group, you're going to find a community that wants to help you. You're going to find a community that will share with you, the good and the bad. You will find an easy to use, search friendly website where you can actually put in. So I have a second grader. I'm looking for science curriculum from a Christian worldview. And it will show you everything we have. We have thousands and thousands of products on the site just for that. So from the website standpoint, that's the major benefit. From the group standpoint, if you're a member of our group, like I said, you have chances each week to win hundreds and hundreds of dollars in homeschool curriculum. We give away freebies, free homeschool curriculum and resources each week. We have live workshops with our vendors and veteran homeschooling parents. We have Facebook parties. So we really have a sense of community there. And I do feel like that's a benefit for any homeschooler. And not only that, but we also have exclusive discounts from our vendors. So our vendors offer exclusive discounts just for the members of our group and those who purchase from our website. So it's definitely something to check out.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And I know from experience that it is wonderful. It's a perfect place to go if you are a brand new homeschooler and you're just looking for advice. If you feel overwhelmed, which so many do, I encourage you to head to the Top Picks Homeschool Curriculum Fair group on Facebook, and that's where they can find it, right? Can they just go on Facebook and search for Top Picks Homeschool Curriculum Fair?
Sure, that you can always do that. You can also go to our website, homeschoolcurriculumfair.com, and right there on the homepage, you'll see the link to go to the Facebook group as well.
That is fabulous. Heather, thank you so much for the service that you are providing to the homeschool community. Thank you for being faithful to God's call for you to start this. It has really been a blessing, and we are so appreciative.
Yes, thank you so much for having me today, Melanie.
To find the links to the audiobook version of Protostar and to the Homeschool Curriculum Fair website and Facebook group, go to homeschoolsanity.com/more sane curriculum. Join me next time as I discuss creating margin in our homeschools. Have a happy homeschool week. Thank you for joining me. Happy, healthy homeschooling can be yours. It begins with one small step. Let's continue the conversation on social media. I'm at Psycho with Six. This has been a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network.